Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades, and we are back to Married at First Sight series 8, and we are now on episode 16. I'm getting a move on here, ain't I? Yeah, I'm getting a move on here, and I'll be back in succession with the next ones. I know just after these I'm going to react and review and break down to the last Love is Blind, which is the reunion, which I'll do in between these, and then I'll be back to just solely doing Married at First Sight for you all. So I hope you're enjoying the videos thus far. I do enjoy making them, like I really do enjoy making them for you all, and I hope I'm not talking your ears off too much and you're all understanding what I'm saying, where I'm coming from. As I always say, it's always my own opinions. It's always my own opinions in regards to what I'm watching on the grand old TV. Anyway, before we get into this episode, if you can hit that subscribe button, if you can hit that notification button, so when you know I am on and doing videos. And let's get into episode 16, shall we? So with this episode, we see all the couples basically go for days out. So they've split the couples up into different groups, and they're all having like their different days out, and they're all like getting to know each other in that sense. So it's mixed couples. It is mixed couples. So you see Ella and Peggy like firstly chilling out in the spa, and Peggy's still going on about how she feels hurt, as though everything came onto her. And I'm like, but you said what you said. I'm like, seriously, my love, you said what you said and it came back to bite you in the arse. That's what you did. So maybe the lesson learned here is don't tell stories out of school. Literally don't tell people who, even though you may consider them your friends, they're not your friends at the end of the day. You need to read where you think you can say things to people and know it won't go any further. I probably wouldn't talk to any of them in there, to be fair, knowing it won't go any further, because they're all in some piece of drama, some way, shape or form at the end of the day. So Peggy believes that George is a good person. And it's the fact that nobody else sees the George that she gets when she's with him at home. They just see this outer exterior of George, which isn't palatable to anybody's taste at the end of the day. And she wants all of them to see the George that she gets when they're on their own together. They're not going to get that George at the end of the day, because that's when George is being open and vulnerable with you, Peggy. He's not going to be open and vulnerable with everybody else. He always puts on a facade. He changes himself like a chameleon. So any type of situation that he's in, he will change himself and act accordingly. And that's what he does. That's what George does. That's how I'm seeing it. That's what George does. Ella still thinks George is a bit of a dick. I too believe George is a bit of a dick, but we shall move on. So you see Nathaniel talking to George. And basically George is talking about how everything just got caught up in a whirlwind of emotions. And I said, then this is why you should have kept your nose out of somebody else's business, because at the end of the day, believe it or not, you and Peggy are not the be all and end all. You and Peggy are not the be all and end all. You're working on your own issues in your marriage, and other people are working on their own issues in their marriage. Now, in terms of what happened between him and Portia, and then him having the conversation with Terence, he had an actual physical step in what happened to them on the Confessions on the Couch. He was a part of that, I believe, for the decision making for Terence. He was a part that literally was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of how Terence thought that what he wanted to do and the next steps that he was going to take. So he needs to take responsibility for his part in all of that. But again, he's being like Peggy, where he's like, oh, it's been tough, it's a whirlwind, this has been going on. And I'm like, as again, keep your nose out of other people's business at the end of the day. If it don't have nothing to do with you, drink your water and mind your business. So then it gets to Ella, and basically Ella's talking about how Nathaniel is like her best friend, but it's becoming frustrating. It's becoming very frustrating to her. And basically They then have a little chat about JJ, because I think it was Peggy that said she clocked the little looks, the little dalliance, the little between her and JJ, and then she said, yeah, she did find JJ attractive at the end of the day, and she kind of knew that JJ was like attracted to her in that sense. So then this is I would say, if you've watched it, this was the start of where Tasha was getting pissed off with Erica, because it was Tasha, it was Jay, and it was Thomas that were in the whirlpool, or whatever you want to call it, jacuzzi, whirlpool, whatever you want to call it, right? And they were having their little conversation. Erica decides to join them. Now, I don't know anybody who gets into the freaking jacuzzi the way that Erica got in the jacuzzi. Like, she was this type of essence, this bloody model, and she was stepping in quite slowly and then literally sinking down, breasts out, batty back. And I was like, all I could think, why are you getting into the jacuzzi like that for? Why didn't you just step in and sit down like everybody else does? I don't understand why she was getting in like that for. So I peeped that Tasha and Thomas gave each other a look. So basically, I think it was Jay that asked Erica what she thought so far. And Erica was like, well, I'm so surprised and taken aback that a lot of couples are not where they should be after being with each other for 4 weeks. Now, Jay was oblivious to the undertone of what Erica was saying, but Tasha and Thomas weren't, because if you notice when they looked at Erica, they were not best pleased in terms of what she was saying, because they were like, what? And who are you to comment? You've been in here but 5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And she then continues to say, if it had been 4 weeks, I would be more together, and thinks that, and she says this, Erica says this, and this was contention number 1. She turns around and says that she thinks her and Jordan are the strongest couple. And I'm like, love, you've only just joined. You've got Jay and Luke. You've got Tasha and Paul. How are you the strongest couple, my love? How? I ain't even been there but a week. And this is what starts the trajectory of where Tasha went with this girl, because already I'm like Tasha, where if my spirit don't take to someone after you said some bullshit stuff, if my spirit don't take to someone, it ain't gonna take to you. And everything that you say from then on in, I'm going to read into, and you're going to piss me off more and more and more and more. And that's what was happening with Tasha, with Erica, because at the end of the day, Erica was saying shit, but she was saying shit slyly, but she was making digs as she was saying it. She was making digs as she was saying it. And then when she got called out for the bullshit that she was saying, Tasha then becomes the freaking aggressor, and Erica becomes the victim. How does that work when Erica was giving her and giving pointers and being sly with it? She knew what she was doing with her words. So you see Arthur and JJ having a chat as well, and basically JJ is still talking about how Bianca's not really his type. Bearing in mind, this man doesn't have these conversations with Bianca. He's still trying to go through a marriage with a person that he doesn't want to be with. He honestly does not want to be with. But then it comes to a point where I'm thinking, is this your airtime then? Is this your airtime? Because you're not being honest, you're not being open, and you're not really working on your marriage as you should be at the end of the day, because you don't want to be with the person that you married. So he's basically telling Arthur, basically Arthur said to him, is it because you're holding on to someone who is not your type at the end of the day? And that's true. That's exactly what he's doing. He's holding on to Bianca, who is not his type, and he's just going to make the situation worse, because it's not like Bianca hasn't come out and said things to him about where her thoughts are and how she's thinking and feeling. She's said these things to him, but he's ignoring that, thinking that he can continue to play in her face, because that's what he's doing. He's playing in her face. So we get to Laura and Bianca, and Bianca is basically getting to a point where she's starting to feel insecure in herself. And this is what I say: when does it become a point that you put a stop to things? When the other person begins to be affected, not just on an emotional level, but starting to be affected on a psychological level as well. She's starting to question herself. Is she not attractive? Is the person wrong her as to why this man, this JJ, is not finding her attractive? What is the issue at the end of the day? And I think it's wrong. I honestly think it's wrong. But Laura did try and build her up and say that she's a beautiful girl, and basically saying about JJ, oh, I wouldn't worry about him looking elsewhere. And I'm like, my guy's already looking elsewhere. He's looking into the beautiful blues of Ella and her cups. At the end of the day, that's where JJ is looking. That is where JJ is looking at the end of the day. So then it moves on back to the flats, and we actually get to see the conversation that happens with Brad and Shona, with the experts Paul and Mel, basically in regards to their longevity on the show and whether they actually do get to stay on the show. So basically Brad was saying, like, he didn't feel great separated from Shona. And basically he said that they are 100% fiery with each other. And I'm just like, I think it's at this point that you and Shona really need to be open and honest about what's happening, about what's going on. And you need to literally take on board what's being said to you and not always have a response. You need to actively listen to what's being said to you. But Brad is not great at that at all. Shona is basically saying that she needed more consistency, and she's thinking of going with her first gut feeling that it's not working between them and that there's something intrinsically wrong with their relationship at this moment in time, which causes her some great upset. But then you got Brad basically turning around and saying that I do believe there is growth between us, but what will be will be. And I'm like, again, Brad, you're literally ready to just like dash this woman to the winds because it's not going your way. There hasn't been growth because you both started off hot and heavy, which was the issues in both your relationships previously, and you didn't want to go through that again because you both love in that sense. But you two are not connecting. You're not connecting at all in the slightest. So I think both of them need to come to a decision whether this is going to be fish or cut bait on their relationship and their marriage at the end of the day. Me, in my opinion, I really don't think Shona should be with Brad. I really don't think Shona should be with Brad, because Brad needs to work on himself and how he sees a woman being in his life to be honest with you, because I think he puts himself on this grandeur scale, on this pedestal, and no woman is going to meet up to that. And when they don't, he then becomes a bit of an arsehole. To be fair, he becomes a bit of an arsehole. He becomes a little bit controlling, as I've already mentioned within my videos, that he becomes a little bit controlling because the person he perceives that should be for him is not following the path that he's setting down. I think it was at the end of this conversation that the experts basically said that they don't believe that this is the experiment for them. It's too much of a pressure cooker for them, because basically Brad and Shona wanted to stay. And I'm like, the experts are telling you it's not working. This is not the type of environment for you to have a relationship in. It's too much of a pressure cooker for the both of them, so they need to leave. My thing is they're saying all of this to them and they've made the decision that they do need to go, but they've not signposted them or supported them with, I don't know, with any aftercare after that, or even supported them into getting into some kind of therapy, some counselling, some therapy, some abusive type focused work. They've not done any of that. From what I saw from that conversation, they didn't do any of that. So now I'm wondering, is there any aftercare for Brad and Shona at the end of the day? Because both of them need some sort of something, especially if you're foisting them out into the world where they're not going to get any support. You've got a woman here that is literally obsessed and still in love with this dude, and you've got a dude that can be quite coercive and quite controlling in the way that he speaks to his woman. They would need support. Either that, Or Shona needs to get the hell away from Brad and let Brad work on himself and where his gaps are. In that sense, they did nothing of that. They just literally, boom, can't be here. Because it's a pressure cooker. It's not working. They can see it's a pressure cooker for their relationship. What do you think is going to happen when they get out? Like, seriously, what do you think is going to happen when they get out? So then you see with the couples that they split off into their different couples and they're all having a chat. And as I said, Tasha not like Erica. And you can see that Erica doesn't really like Tasha. But then she makes the comment that it's kind of a mean girl stuff and she can't help having the looks that she has and she thinks it's because she looks. And I'm like, no, Erica, it's not. It's not that at all. It's not. You set yourself on the back foot by trying to paint you and Jordan as the most strongest couple throughout all of these other couples. Bearing in mind you ain't been there but a minute. But yet, as we noticed, you had a lot to say about the other couples, but when it came to Tasha and Paul, it was, oh, well, I don't really know them, so I can't really comment. Why is that? Why is that, my love? Because you knew Tasha would jump straight down your throat if you tried to comment. And then when Tasha's pushing back and speaking to you, you could see the looks that Tasha's giving to you. She's not hiding it. Tasha's not hiding it in any way, shape or form. You then with all this, the hand gestures and I'm like, you see, as soon as someone does that to me, I'll just want to slap your hand straight out of my face because I'm like, who are you and what are you doing? Like, seriously, why are you talking to me like that? Why are you talking to me like that? Because you're giving me this certain type of attitude and you're trying to give me the aesthetic of someone that you are not, because I'm sure you don't talk to nobody like that when you get angry. Why are you doing it in front of Tasha's face? So yes, she would hype me up. She would hype me up so bad. So me, I am not going to badmouth how Tasha reacted to that, to be fair. I really am not. I'm with Tasha 100% because Erica was in the wrong. Erica was digging. Yes, she got Jay jumping in and saying, oh, well, you know, and I'm like, no. Don't sit there and placate to Erica, because at the end of the day, Erica was digging and she got what she wanted. She found what she wanted. Tasha gave it to her. And when Tasha gave it to her, she didn't like the consequences of her own actions in terms of what her mouth was saying to Tasha and everybody else, but nobody else was picking it up. So no, I don't feel in the slightest bit sorry for Erica at the end of the day. She needed that verbal slap back. She did. She needed that verbal slap back to say, nah, dude, nah. You've been in here but 5 minutes. Don't come with that. Don't do that. And don't put other couples down as well while you're doing it. So then you see the JJ and Ella flirt. The JJ and Ella flirt going on. And basically JJ has come out and said that if he was to like another wife or find another wife attractive or whatever the question was, JJ went straight to Ella. He found Ella and Erica attractive, but if he had to pick one, Ella would be his type. And Ella was like, okay, so you did and this is what I'm saying, that JJ's a prick. Ella shouldn't. No, Ella, you're working with Nathaniel. You know you've got all these people around you, and do you honestly believe that nothing's going to get back to Nathaniel? Do you honestly believe that nothing's going to get back to Nathaniel and cause upset within your marriage and your relationship with Nathaniel? I mean, you're working towards something long lasting. With JJ, it's at face value. He don't know you. And yes, before it said, she did mention that she was trans within that conversation. So JJ was well aware before he said that he found her attractive and fancied her, that Ella was a trans woman at the end of the day. And that was neither here nor there for him, which is a good thing, because if it was, that boy would have needed to be a slap straight out of that fucking program, quit smart. Anyway, so then I think it was Arthur, a Christian, come out saying, who amongst all the couples is lying about their feelings? And Arthur said, I would say Thomas and Roz. Now everybody looked at him as if to say, really? Thomas and Roz, really? There's lots of other couples here who are lying about their feelings, JJ. But you said Thomas and Roz. Why is that, Arthur? Why? And then Thomas, turned around and asked him to explain himself. Like literally asking to, and I'm like, yeah, explain yourself, Arthur. But Arthur couldn't. It's not articulate enough to explain himself to someone like Thomas. Cause Thomas, wow, all I can say is wow. I couldn't have loved Thomas more in that moment. Like seriously, Thomas put the, and everybody was like, I'm like, you like don't know Thomas as well as you think you know Thomas. All of you think this is a meek and mild man. Nah, this man caught Arthur off at the jugular with his verbalness. I was like, rotted, you picked the wrong one there. And now Arthur knows that Thomas ain't come to play, because even Thomas was saying to him, it's going to kick off. It's going to kick off if you don't take back what you said, because what you said was bullshit. You ain't coming for me and my marriage. You ain't doing this in front of my face. You ain't playing in front of my face, because I'm going to slap them words straight back down your throat. And I was like, oh, Arthur, you picked the wrong one there, innit? Even Arthur was shocked. Arthur even tried to lean forward in his bravado, and I thought, that's not even going to work for you, my love, because I have a sneaking feeling that Thomas knows how to fight. Yes, I do. I'm sure he does martial arts, but I have a sneaking feeling that Thomas can back up what his mouth is saying right now if it had to get physical. But yeah, Thomas, he surprised me. Thomas surprised me. It's always the quiet ones. Said it's always the quiet ones. You need to watch out for the quiet ones. Said dark horses. They're dark horses. I was like, yeah, now you know. Don't fuck with Thomas. So then we get to group number 2. And the question came up as which couple has the best sex. And I think Roz and Thomas, I can't remember what, I think Nathaniel said Roz and Thomas, because everybody's like, well, when you first put it on him, he was like a broken person, and then when he had it the next time, that man could not stop smiling. So that's why Nathaniel was saying it was Thomas and Roz that might have the best sex. Some people said Paul and Tasha, and someone said Luke and Jay, because you can hear them. And I was like, raw. If someone said that they could hear me having sex, I'll be hella embarrassed, because I'll be like, yeah, no, don't tell me that. Now I'm just like, how loud are you guys that they can hear you? Like, hear you, how loud are you guys? It's like, yeah, I'd be hella embarrassed. So basically they turned around, and the next question was, who is lying about their feelings? And me, myself, I wouldn't have answered it. I would not have answered it. And Laura, being her infinite self, decided to answer it. And basically Laura called out George in terms of him lying about his feelings, because basically she felt that George was literally just saying what Peggy wanted to hear to keep an even keel, an even playing field. And I'm not sure what George said back, but I'm like, do you cause that clusterfuck? George, I think he mentioned something about everything being a clusterfuck. I'm like, you caused it. I have, like, you know, accept that responsibility and the impression that you gave to the other couples after you caused what you caused. And the fact, I think it was in terms of when Peggy broke down on the couch, like literally broke down on the couch, which caused George to take a step back, and then people actually realise what the fuck is going on in their marriage at the end of the day. It ain't all sunshine and roses. So then we go back to the couples. And this is what I mean by the whole situation that started with Erica. I'm not going to go through it because I've already been through it at the end of the day. So basically the question comes up, kiss in the group who isn't your partner. Who would you kiss in the group who isn't your partner? And as I said, I think Jay said Nathaniel, Tasha said Ella, Arthur said Tasha, Ella said JJ, of course, Erica said JJ, and then JJ picked Ella. But as again I said, you could see the issues, you could see what was going on. And this is why I say JJ is full of bollocks when it comes to his fact of moving slow with Bianca. This is about the first impression. This is about him looking at Ella and thinking, she's my type, I want her. That's what he felt. He didn't feel that with Bianca, and he should have been honest with Bianca with it and not take her down this path, making her look like a damn mug when he's the arsehole. He is the arsehole. He is the drama, and he is a prick. At the end of the day, he's a prick. And I'm not condoning Ella's behaviour in any way, shape or form, because she shouldn't have literally played into that. Yes, something's missing at the moment with you and Nathaniel, but nah, you shouldn't have played into that at all. And that is where I am going to end it for this episode, and I'll be back very soon with the others. And as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button, so when you know I am back on and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.